All right, a very warm welcome to the YouTube family. We are reading the book Healing is the New High by Vex King. And let us continue with wherever we stopped last time. Yes. We are at the page number 134 of the book. It says, make sure your trauma stops with you. When we are unable to heal from traumatic experiences and events, we are not the only ones to suffer. Intergenerational trauma, sometimes called transgenerational trauma or simply generational trauma, is a psychological theory that describes how trauma can be transferred through generations of a family or community. Bridging the gap between neuroscience and psychodynamic concepts, psychologist Mark Woolen writes about the personal neurological shared and interactive process that allows our parents to transmit their trauma to us. Or allows us to transmit our trauma to our own children. Woolen, along with other psychology scholars, suggests that if no one breaks the cycle, trauma can be passed along through multiple generations. The best known example of this on a large scale is the lasting effect of the Holocaust on Jewish communities, which to varying degrees integrated incredible trauma into their way of life and perception of the world. The Satmar community in New York, for example, is an Orthodox Jewish community in which having children is vitally important to make up for the lives that were taken by the Nazis. It is, of course, completely understandable that such a terrific experience would stay with the community long after the event, and their trauma can never and should never be forgotten. It's impossible for an outsider to judge, but I can't help but hope that all humans will be able at some point to put down the weight of the past and live with the inner freedom. And on a smaller scale, trauma is passed through families all the time. The things your parents didn't heal from have had an impact on your perception of the world. The things your grandparents didn't heal from had an impact on how your parents choose to live. And the things that you don't heal from could have an impact on how your children or your nieces and nephews understand their place in life. When we carry our trauma with us, it's also impossible not to share it, even if we try to hide it and pretend it was never there. Because that hiding, that suppression is in itself an expression of trauma that can be transferred to other people. For example, the way that parents interact with their children on a day-to-day level and deal with certain behaviors is often based on the way they were raised. In my own community, it was the norm for children to be compared to other kids from a very young age, academically, physically, emotionally, and so on. If we didn't get the grades other kids got, we were deemed failures. Light-skinned babies were considered more beautiful than those with darker skin, and no secret was made of that. We were judged by how we measured up to our peers, but this goes far beyond just my culture. Navigating comparison culture. Comparison is an issue across the board and it affects us in powerful ways. Not all of these are negative. Neuroscientists such as Dr. Gyani Kedia, and her colleagues have described how comparison is a part of the natural brain mechanism that functions to drive self-improvement. However, comparing people, especially children, with others also fosters insecurity and makes it difficult for them to accept themselves. We all compare our accomplishments, looks, skills, grades, intelligence, popularity, wealth, relationships, and so on with those of others and use other people as a way to evaluate ourselves. The way we are socialized creates a system of being judged within all social contexts, ranging from the family to educational settings, community groups, friends, work situations, and so on. Because we were judged, we become our biggest inner critic, and we also learn to judge others against the same benchmark we judge ourselves. With the rise of social media platforms like Instagram, we can now effortlessly access visual stories of people's lives, observing some of their greatest captures and moments, and including achievements and picture perfect scenarios. So it's easier than ever to fall into the trap of comparing yourself or your life with someone else's, and to compare with other people, with the people popular idea and social movements being shared across social media. We have this instant and constantly accessible framework into which we want to fit everyone. It plays to the very human desire to categorize and make sense of everything. If we are not sure what we personally think of someone or ourselves, we just go online and see what boxes they currently do or don't fit into. We can use our tendency to compare ourselves to others to inspire and motivate us. And having inspiration isn't a bad thing. But if we haven't learned how to be discerning and analyzed our thoughts and where they come from using mindfulness and awareness, comparison can hurt us. It kills our joy and it can be the dangerous seed that grows into poor mental health. A strong comparison culture can be a form of generational trauma that's passed down from adults to children again and again. It becomes so normal to us that we don't even know it's dangerous. We don't notice that it's having an impact on what we think of ourselves and others. We don't understand that it's creating judgment and pain. Because after all, uh, we can something that so many of the parents around us do to their kids. A common socially acceptable parenting technique, be bad. The same goes for shaming children as a way to stop certain behaviors or isolating them from connections and social contact when they've done something we don't like. All normal and the potentially very harmful. How can you tell if comparison has become a norm in your life? Here are some of the most common effects. Number one, lack of self worth or a sense of unworthiness. Two, poor self esteem or self confidence. Three, the illusion of underachievement. Four, dissatisfaction. Five, validating our existence based on how we compare to others. Six, being judgmental towards others. Seven, persistent negative emotions such as envy, hate, guilt, remorse, and jealousy. Seven, lying, pretending to be something you are not. Eight, disordered eating. When comparison isn't coupled with very strong self awareness, it has two basic outcomes: thinking you're not good enough or thinking you're superior to others. If you carry family or community trauma with you, or if you've personally been through a trauma in your life, it can stop with you. Even if you can't uncover all the secrets of the past or solve every single riddle, you can work on your inner experience and on your outer expression of trauma, whether it's first hand, second hand, or passed down to you from many generations ago. You're doing a work to reimagine your impressions and expressions. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into this by exploring the practice of reparenting yourself. You learn to build new beliefs, positive, liberating, empowering ones, by responding to yourself with the same love, curiosity, and honesty that you'd give to a child. But before we get there, I'd like to work through one more practice in this chapter. It will prepare you for the work we'll do next. As you begin to rewrite your subconscious beliefs you have about yourself and create the conditions you need for genuine inner healing. When we carry our trauma with us, it's almost impossible not to share it, even if we try to hide it and pretend it was never there. Because that hiding and suppression is in itself an expression of trauma that can be transferred to other people. Practice 5. Uncover your limiting beliefs. Now that you've written your personal history list, which is practice 4, page number 118, it's time to meditate on it. The meditation practice is designed to allow you to recognize the limiting beliefs you hold, those that are rooted in the experiences you acknowledged during the list writing practice. Essentially, what I'm asking you to do is to sit with your trauma, the big stuff and the small stuff. Sit with it and notice what stands out. Depending on the length of your list, the practice could take up to an hour or a day, a week, or longer. Feel free to split it into shorter sessions. For example, you could divide your list into smaller lists of 10 memories each and meditate on one of those smaller lists at a time. Whether you decide to do it all at once or take it slowly, make sure you get to the end of your list. It's important to sit with all of it. It's absolutely perfectly okay for this to take some time. Inner healing isn't a quick fire, snappy process. We are in this for true, deep, sustainable results. If you need to move slowly, give yourself permission to do so. You can work at a pace that feels right to you. And again, the practice might feel really uncomfortable. The stuff on your list is messy. Some of it may be painful, and some of it may be things that you worked upon really hard for years and years to forget. We are reshaping beliefs here, rewriting the pages that lay out who you are, or at least who you think you are. That's never going to be a totally comfortable process. We can use our tendency to compare ourselves to others to inspire and motivate us. And having aspirations isn't a bad thing. But if we haven't learned how to be discerning and analyzed our thoughts, where they come from, using mindfulness and awareness, comparison can hurt us. Bring to light. Find a safe, comfortable space. Ideally, you'll know that no one's going to rush in and interrupt you. Number one, settle into a seated position. You can choose to sit on the floor or on a chair. Your posture isn't too important here, so just make sure you feel comfortable. If you are on the floor, sit on a cushion or two so that your hips are higher than your knees. Feel free to sit with your back against a wall if that helps. You feel supported. If you opt to sit on a chair, make sure that the edge of the seat just touches the back of your knees and that both your feet are resting firmly on the ground. Have a glass of water or a cup of tea by your side, but nothing containing caffeine because that can heighten anxiety, which is unhelpful when you're working through challenging memories. Number two, place your personal history list in front of you, somewhere you can see it easily. Either your full list or that shorter split list if you've decided to work through this practice in smaller sessions. And have your pen there too, with a blank page of your notebook open. Title the page Limiting Beliefs. Number three, close your eyes. Allow your hands to rest comfortably on your legs, wherever they naturally fall. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth, releasing all of the air from your body. Do this twice more, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Number four, allow the breath to return to a natural rhythm. No need to control it, just notice it. You are arriving in this moment. Sit with the breath in this way for as long as you need to until you feel calm and present. If you've opened your eyes to read this step, gently close them again as you sit and notice the breath. Number five, now open your eyes and focus on the first memory of your list. Number one, read it slowly and take it in, and then close your eyes. Number six, hold this memory in your mind. If you feel called to move your hands, please do so. Sometimes we feel a desire to place a hand over the heart or the abdomen or some other part of the body that feels somehow connected to or affected by a particular memory. There's no need to resist that. Allow it to happen. We are working with the whole body, and so we must listen to the whole body. No sensation or emotion needs to be suppressed. Let it come. Number seven, spend as much time as you need to with this memory. Notice how it feels in your mind, in your emotional state, or in your body. And when you are ready, ask yourself, have I created a belief because of this memory? If a belief does come to mind, open your eyes briefly and write it down in your notebook on the page titled Limiting Beliefs. If this doesn't quite make sense to you yet, here's an example from my own list. I'll talk more about this in the next chapter, but here's the short version. Memory. Going hungry as a child when my mother didn't have the money to buy enough food. Limiting belief, when food is available, I have to eat as much as possible or binge because food might not be available tomorrow or next day or the next. Then you are ready. Move. Then, when you are ready, move on to the next memory on your list. Work through each memory in turn. Some of them may take longer than others. You might close your eyes to hold a particular memory in your mind and find that actually it doesn't feel very important after all. You haven't attached any specific belief to it, and so you can let it go and move on quickly. And then another memory might feel huge. It could take more time than you expect to sit with it and get familiar with what it really means to you and how it feels. As I said, give yourself that time. There's no rush. You're not working to anyone else's schedule. This is all about your healing and your well being. Number 10, sip water. Sip herbal tea. If you feel overwhelmed, return to your breath, just noticing it. Remember where you are in this body, in this room, in this building, on this earth, in this universe. Carry on when you feel ready. When you worked right through the last memory on your list, take a few moments with your breath. Take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. This is releasing. You are releasing. You are released. You've done it. By meditating through your list, you've released memories that you no longer need to hold on to. And you've built a list of your limiting beliefs, beliefs that you've carried with you throughout your life. Some of them have been with you since you were very young. I can't tell you how powerful it is. This list in front of you. I know it's been a lot of work to get here. I know it hasn't felt magical or lovely. It's not magic. It's real. It really is work. But now you have a list of the limiting beliefs that you've identified. They've been governing how you live your life. You've brought them out of the shadows into the light of the day or into the light of your lamp or whatever you've got going on. You can see them clearly. What happens when you can see your limiting beliefs clearly like this? You get to change them. All right, I think we'll stop here and continue the next chapter tomorrow. The fifth chapter, work with you in a new way.